Life is tough here in California. We're down at the beach with all the ocean, waves, and people, and we're eating a pretzel. And we're shooting a time lapse. The weather outside is frightful, but here at the Slanted Lens, it's delightful because we're giving $4,000 worth of equipment away. Go to theslantedlens.com. 24 winners. Be one of them. Hi, this is JP Morgan. Today on Slanted Lens, we're down here at Santa Monica Pier. We're going to shoot some time-lapse with our new Syrup Super Dark ND filter. We're shooting time-lapse in this direct sunlight, but we want our water to look really beautiful and blurry, give you that really romantic feeling. So we need an ND filter that will really crush the sunlight here. I'm at 100 ISO at f16, and I can't get the long exposure that I want. So when we arrived this morning, we had a pretty good cloud cover. So when I put that Super Dark ND filter from Syrup on there, I could get a 4-second exposure, but the sun wasn't out yet. So that 4-second exposure looks great. Let's take a look at it. But now the sun is out. It's direct sun. I've got really harsh conditions here, and I've got to be able to get a long exposure to still give me that motion, that beautiful look of the water. In order to get a 2-second exposure, I'm going to have all the ND I can get on there. I'm using that Super Dark ND all the way to its darkest setting, which is 10 stops plus. And then I'm going to be able to go to 2 seconds, still at f16 at 100 ISO. But I'm getting the motion that I want. So I used a 2-axis setup here. One to pan across the ocean here, because I want to see the water. And the second one just to tilt up just a little bit so I can see the Ferris wheel at the end of that. I want to stay on the water mostly, and then tilt up to the Ferris wheel at the end. So it's pretty much about a 60-degree pan, and just about an 8-degree tilt up at the very end. So I love that 2-axis Syrup with the Genie Minis. I get that pan and that tilt, and what I love most about it is I can hit the preview mode, put it in video mode, and I can just watch it, and I can see exactly what it's going to do. Now, that's not quite right. I'll change a little bit, look at it again. I can preview it every time, and then reset it back to the beginning, and then start my exposure. So I usually try to do a 2-second with a 2.5-second interval, or 4-second with a 4.5-second interval, just enough of a pause so your camera can recycle and shoot again. So that's kind of the way I've got this set up today. So here's our final time lapse, looking at that 2-second interval in direct sunlight using that 10 plus stops of ND. If you want that dreamy look that long exposures give you for people or cars or water, you've got to have an ND filter that's going to be able to handle the sunlight that's available here. So it's pretty tough to pull off, but get it on there. There's a couple of things I learned about it. I always carry a loop with me. My loop allows me to look at the back of my camera in the sun, and that way I can look at the images to make sure they're exposed correctly. I can look at my settings, even on my Syrup. I'll put my loop on my Syrup, and I can check those out. It gives me the ability to just see what I need to using that loop to block out the sun. So that's a simple that you use that Zacuto loop, which I really love. Secondly, I don't choose to shoot back towards the sun. I came around Santa Monica Pier and I'm looking towards the pier. The sun is coming right over my shoulder towards the pier. I get a nicer look in the clouds in the background. The sky's a lot darker. You don't get the flare and kind of the blown out sky that you get if you look back the other direction. So you want to look with the sun over your right or left shoulder, back towards your subject matter, and that direct sun is going to give the best exposure. So I chose a 35 millimeter, that 1.8 35 millimeter by Tamron, because I wanted a nice broad view of the ocean as it sweeps across that landscape. I didn't want it too tight. I wanted to be able to see sand, into ocean, into the background. So I wanted that kind of broader view that a 35 millimeter gives me. I looked at a 45, but I didn't love that. I love that 35 millimeter. It gives me just a gentle pan across it. It'll be a nice time lapse. So it's been gorgeous out here, and a lot of fun to be at the beach. Actually, it's not been that much fun. I hate sand. It's in my equipment, it's in my brand new shoes. I'm done with this, I'm going home. Keep those cameras rolling, keep on clicking. Trisha Zemp made a stop motion out of the Slanted Lens logo. She's going to teach you how to do this and much, much more if you go to theslantedlens.com/stop motion. Buy the download, it'll teach you everything you need to know about stop motion. You should subscribe to the Slanted Lens. It may not save your life, but why risk it? Just push that button right there.